Let's say the values of x at the point where y equals 4x minus x squared and y equals 0 are, right, the values of x at the point where these two lines intersect. I forgot that word. So all we got to do is to set 4x minus x squared to 0, because both y's are equal to these two, 4x minus x squared and 0. So they're equal, in other words. Now to solve this, we just simply factorize. X can enter x, 4x and x squared. So we take out x. So if I divide 4x by x, I'm going to leave back with 4. And I divide x squared by the same x. Correction. X squared divided by x, that will leave me with x. X can go into x squared x times. So that'd be minus x equals 0. Now this implies that either the x here is equal to 0 or the 4 minus x is equal to 0. So we already have x being equal to 0. So the answer, this c is out because x, one of the x is equal to 0. Now if 4, let's look at this one. 4 minus x equals 0. We can transpose the minus x to the other side to get positive x. So that means x is equal to 4. So 0 and 4, which were option? That's A. Let's look at the next one. So we have the translation here, and they're asking us the translation by which AB maps to A prime, B prime. Okay, so all we got to do for this one is see how we moved from A to A prime. Now to get from 2 to 4, we're going to add 2. And to get from 5 to 6, we're going to add 1. So it's going to be 2, 1, basically. Let's try that with the 5. 5 plus 2 give us 7. And 7 plus 1 give us 8. So that's 2, 1. And so that answer there is going to be B. All right, let's look at the next one. So we have the transversal here and the pair of parallel lines in PQ and RS. P and Q are basically alternate angles. P is equal to Q. The best explanation for these is that P is equal to Q. They are alternate angles, and alternate angles are equal. All right, so this angle here is equal to this one. Let's look at 55. Now, for 55, let's look at the item actually. A ship sailed 8 kilometers due east from A to B. So due east meaning we're going from A here and going east, we're going to go this direction. This must be B over here. All right, then it sails 6 kilometers due north. So this is going to be 6 kilometers due north. So from B to north, where C is, it's going to go upwards. So maybe somewhere up here. So that's going to be C, which is going to be 6 kilometers. So we're looking for this one that looks like that. All right, so let's see. Not neither of those two. C looks like the correct option. Let's look at D though to see how they draw that. Definitely not. So our answer is C. 6 kilometers due east, and then 8 kilometers due east, sorry, and then north going upwards. All right, let's look at the next question, which is going to be 56. O is the center, then Y is what? Let's look at that. Well, this one is that the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. The angle at the circumference is 50, then Y is double that, which is 100. So that's 56. Let's look at 57. So we have the graph shows the line y equal x, and we can clearly see that line, the line y equal x. It says if the line y equal x is rotated anti-clockwise through the origin, about the origin through 90 degrees, the image is what? So if we have this, and this rotates 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, so 90 degrees to this will be going this way here. That will be 90 degrees. And so this line there would be the line y equals negative x. And so which option is that? That's option A, y equals negative x. So the one that is going this way is y equal x, and the other one is y equal negative x. Let's look at the next question, 58. All right, so we have a triangle. We have two angles given. A is equal to x, x degree. B is equal to 2x degree. What is angle C? Well, the three angles in the triangle are equal. So once we're given two, we add them up and subtract them from that sum from 180. So be x plus 2x, which give us 3x. Now when you take the 3x from, so that when we add those two angles, we're going to subtract it from 180 to find the third. So we're going to subtract 3x from 180 to find the third, and that is option D. 59, it says here that we have an angle of depression, and it's 35 degrees. Now we can see a Z, right? Are we seeing a Z? That's a Z here. So this is basically, this line is parallel to this line here. So that means this angle here is also 35 degrees. That's the angle of elevation. Now, given that that's the angle of elevation, let's see what they're asking us for. They want us to find the height, YZ. So let's go back there. So Y to Z is this side here. So let's call that YZ. Want to find that height. Now, based on the fact that we have a right angle triangle, right? This is my right angle. This is 35. Then this is the opposite side, which is the side they're asking me to find, which is YZ. And under here, this is my adjacent, because I have the 35 degree and the 90 degree on the same line. So this line under here is my adjacent side. Adjacent has both angles on it. So adjacent means next to. Now, given that's the fact, if we want to find YZ, which trig ratio would I use? Well, I have sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse. I have cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. And I have tangent, which is opposite over adjacent. Okay, and since I'm only dealing with the opposite and adjacent, I'm going to use tangent. And so let's look at the option before I even start working it out. So obviously, these will be out because these are all cosine and sine. And so C will be the right option. I wouldn't have to work it out, actually. But if I do, then it's going to be tangent of the acute angle, which is 35 degrees, which equals to the opposite, which I mentioned before is YZ, over the adjacent, which is 12. And since I want to find YZ, I'm going to transpose the 12 to multiplication. So that's 12 multiplied by tan 35, which is equal to YZ. That's how we find YZ. 12 tan 35. The last one. Okay, it says, if the line y equal x is rotated anticlockwise about, oh, for the finish word that one, I'm looking for 60 now. All right, so here we have a right angle triangle, and it says which trig ratio is equal to 4 over 8. So 4 over 8, which one of them? Well, let's look at that, because we have two acute angles, so it's very hard to say which is the opposite. This 4 is opposite x. This, right, is opposite of x. And this one, opposite the right angle, is just the what? The hypotenuse. All right, so 8 is the hypotenuse. And since we have 8 here is the hypotenuse. And the only trig ratios that use that will be sine, right, which is opposite over hypotenuse, and cosine, which uses adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, and we know this 4 centimeters could also be the adjacent side, but it's adjacent to what? It's next to y. So this is adjacent to y. Okay, so which one of those will work? It's going to be either cosine or sine. Cannot be tangent, because tangent will be opposite over adjacent, really. And we do not have opposite being given. Well, we do not have adjacent. Well, we're looking for hypotenuse. So it's right? The 8 is the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is not involved in tan. So we have to take out tan for sure. This is out, and this is out. So let's see which one of these, sine x or cosine x. Oh, since we're dealing with x for sine and cosine, then let's see what that will give us. All right, so sine x will be opposite, right? Since we're dealing with x, opposite. So we're gonna remove theta and put x here, and cosine theta and put x there. So sine x will be opposite. So opposite x will be 4 over the hypotenuse, which would be 8. And so that would actually be sine. Let's see what cosine would have been though. Cosine would have been adjacent, right? Well, cosine adjacent of x. Well, adjacent of x would actually be this side that was not given. So that's basically sine. So sine x is the answer. Okay, remember again, it's the opposite over the hypotenuse, and opposite x, in other words, because we're dealing with x, and opposite x is 4, and hypotenuse is just 8.